All right, let's talk about the number one thing you need to do to become a better investor. And what is that? Reading. Every morning I get the Wall Street Journal. Yes, I'm an old man. I read a newspaper. It's not online, but I like holding the paper. I take it with me to work. I read it on lunch. So reading is the number one thing you can do. It gives you ideas of stocks to pursue. It lets you know what's going on in the different industries that you may own stocks in currently. There was actually a CNBC article in 2016 that talks about Warren Buffett. So let's look here at what the article says. So it says, Warren Buffett credits many of his great money decisions to his reading habit. He starts every morning by poring over several newspapers and estimates he spends about 80% of his day reading. So he obviously doesn't read newspapers all day. What else does he read? 10K annual reports, reports from Berkshire Hathaway's operating companies, memos from management of the various operating companies. But overall, the general task of reading gives him a broad knowledge base. So it doesn't have to be reading simply investment related things. Say you're looking to invest in realty income. So that's a real estate investment trust. So you could read their 10K, get an idea of the type of properties they invest in, what they look for in their properties, how they manage their properties, who the tenants of their properties are. So for example, realty income, many of their properties are leased by medical offices, small stores, single tenant stores. So what does that tell you? By reading and understanding that, it tells you that potentially in an economic downturn, single tenant stores could be a little bit dicey because you have one tenant. It's not like a location that has 5 people in one building. So if you have 5 businesses in one building and the economy's bad and say 2 of those vacate that building, you still have 3 others bringing in rent. Where if you have single tenant, single occupancy buildings, then that one tenant vacates that building, you do not have that rental income coming in. So unless you're reading and understand this, you wouldn't know that. Again, with realty income, you could say their tenant is Walgreens drugstore. Just an example. If it's Walgreens, then you could go and read about Walgreens and understand what economic factors impact Walgreens and how that might impact realty income. So it all intertwines together. So let's recap. You can read 10K annual reports. You can read a daily newspaper. You can read about the companies you invest in. You can do Google News searches on the companies you invest in and keep up to date on what's going on with that company outside of just financials. Another thing I recommend that you do is keep a journal. Every trade I make, I write in a journal about notes on what research I did, what information led me to choose to invest in that company. 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, you're not going to necessarily remember what led you to invest in that company. So you can learn from, if you make a bad investment, oftentimes you can learn from what led you to make that investment and either not make that mistake in the future, or for a good investment, things you looked at that may help you make better investments in the future. So that's a big thing. Reading and journaling are the 2 main things that I attribute to being a successful investor. Okay, now let's look at some of the books that I've currently read or read fairly recently. 5 Rules for Successful Stock Investing. This is a great book. It gives you a framework on how to invest in stocks. I don't follow the framework exactly, but it gave me many good ideas. Alright, The Little Book That Beats the Market by Joel Greenblatt. This is a great book. Again, it goes over, Joel's a very respected and successful investor. It goes over a lot of his principles. Again, I don't follow his framework exactly, but I've taken parts of that and used it in my own investing framework. Alright, Buffett, The Making of the American Capitalist. This is a great book, as you can see. I've read pretty much probably end to end 5 times. Every time I read this, I pick up a few more things that interest me and that I didn't pick up previously. So it's a great book. So the general principle here is reading books not necessarily about investing, but about successful individuals in life. Charlie Munger actually talks about everything in life is basically a framework. You take bits and pieces from different successful people and lump them together and basically develop your own framework of how to think of things, how to rationalize investment decisions, how to live life, how to be successful, things like that. Thanks for watching my video. If you would like to learn more about dividend investing, pick up my Kindle book on Amazon. It's called Dividend Investing: The Truth About Dividends and Long-Term Income Investing. And don't forget to subscribe.